revealed how an incredible encounter with her sister's blind fiancé changed their lives forever. Emma always felt like she was running against time. At 27, she found herself slaving away at a marketing firm, caught in the endless cycle of deadlines and meetings. But deep down, she carried the weight of her family's legacy, a string of struggles that seemed never-ending. Her older sister, Sarah, radiated a kind of unwavering hope. Every time Emma looked at her, with her fiancé Jason by her side, that familiar inkling of envy stirred within her. How could Sarah, with her perfect life, know the depths of the hardships Emma dealt with daily? As she faced Jason, a blind man whose radiant spirit seemed invisible to the world, Emma's mind filled with misconceptions, tinted by pity and apprehension. One brisk autumn evening, Sarah invited Emma over for dinner, sweetly teasing that she had to meet Jason. As the scent of pumpkin pie wafted through the air, mingled with the comforting aroma of cinnamon, Emma's heart twisted. When Jason arrived, the soft clicks of his cane echoed against the wooden floor, cutting through the meandering silence like a jolt. Suddenly, Emma felt small. Her tongue felt heavy with uncertainty, each word she uttered seeming to stumble clumsily through the awkward space. The more they conversed, the more Emma battled her own judgment, grappling with preconceived notions about Jason's disability. Weeks went by, and Emma watched as Jason slowly dismantled her misconceptions. His unyielding spirit shone brighter than the autumn sunshine. As he talked passionately about his dream of becoming a motivational speaker, Emma's heart began to thaw. The blind man inspired her along paths she had never considered, igniting a flicker of hope for a brighter future that resonated deep within her. But just when she thought clarity was near, a chilling decision from her workplace shattered her newfound resolve. The company announced that Jason wouldn't be allowed to speak at an upcoming community event. Doubts surged. Colleagues began whispering, unaware of the mountain Jason had climbed just to be heard. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. In the ensuing chaos, Emma wrestled with her conscience. Her career ambitions clashed violently with her newfound loyalty towards Jason. Each passing day weighed heavier, reminding her of the principles instilled by her family: loyalty and courage. Emma could feel the stakes rising. The tension was palpable. As the community erupted in debate over Jason's exclusion, the streets of their suburban neighborhood buzzed with whispers. And just when Emma felt lost in the fray, the tide began to turn. Neighbors rallied in support of Jason, uniting in his advocacy. They spoke with fervor and passion, igniting a fire within Emma's heart. Standing at the crossroads of her own dreams and family ties, Emma realized her life was about to shift drastically. What would she choose? Would she protect her career, or would she refuse to stay silent? The question loomed, filling her chest with a heavy weight as she prepared for the battle ahead. Emma's heart raced as she stood before her computer screen the following morning. Sunlight streamed through her window, illuminating the chaos of her desk: coffee cups, crumpled papers, and an open notebook filled with half-formed ideas. A strong wind blew outside, rattling the trees, almost mirroring the storm inside her. Today was the day she would face her boss, Mr. Thompson, and make her stance clear. She took a deep breath, feeling the weight of her decision settle on her shoulders. As she prepared for the confrontation, thoughts of Jason filled her mind. The fire in his voice, the spark in his eyes when he spoke about his dreams, it was contagious. He didn't just want to be heard, he wanted to inspire others. Emma had watched him embrace challenges with such courage that it made her soul ache with admiration. Who was she to cower behind her desk when he fought so valiantly against prejudice? She walked into the office, the familiar clatter and ringing of phones creating a symphony that felt distant compared to her own pounding heart. Emma approached Mr. Thompson's office, hesitating at the door. She made her case in her head 1,000 times. Yet her palms were sweaty and her mind swirling with doubt. There was a part of her that whispered for the safety of conformity, But another part, louder and more commanding, urged her to stand tall. Emma, what brings you here? Mr. Thompson looked up from behind his desk, eyebrows raised with curiosity. Can we talk about Jason? She said, her voice steadier than she felt. He deserves a chance to speak at the community event. It's not fair to silence him because of his blindness. He has so much to offer. Mr. Thompson scoffed, leaning back in his chair, the air thick with disapproval. Emma, do you really think the community is ready to hear from someone like him? It's a risk. Why? She pressed, her heart thudding in her chest. If you're worried about risks, shouldn't we help change perceptions instead of conforming to them? He inspires so many. I've seen it firsthand. The dismissal on Mr. Thompson's face faltered for a moment as he surveyed her with narrowed eyes, as though trying to decipher this new resolve. If you're so passionate about this, maybe you should take it up with HR. The challenge hung between them like a rope stretched taut. Just like that, Emma felt the ground shift beneath her. This was called for. If she truly believed in Jason and what he stood for, she had to fight for it for him. Then I will, she replied, her heart soaring not just with fear but with newfound faith. She turned on her heel and strode purposefully toward the HR office. Every step felt like an anchor, rooting her in a new purpose. The HR manager was sitting behind a vast oak desk, shuffling through papers when Emma burst in. I want to speak up about Jason's exclusion from the event. She blurted out, her voice rising with each word. He deserves to be heard. We need to challenge outdated perceptions. As the discussion unfolded, Emma felt an unexpected warmth wash over her. The more she spoke, the more empowered she became. It wasn't just Jason's journey she was endorsing, it was her own as well. With every powerful sentence, she stepped further away from the shadows of doubt that had held her back. However, as she laid it all out, uncertainty crept in. She could practically hear her family whispering disapproval, recounting all the reasons not to rock the boat. What if it didn't work? What if she lost her job in the process? Emma. A voice broke through her thoughts as the HR manager raised an eyebrow. This isn't typically how things are done here. Are you sure you want to pursue this? The question slapped her back to reality, pushing her into a whirlwind of possibilities. The path ahead was still foggy, but there was one definite revelation stirring deep within her. She wanted to stand for something bigger than herself. The fear wasn't about her career anymore. It was about what she believed in. With her pulse racing, Emma took a deep, shuddering breath. In that moment, the battle was no longer just about Jason. It was about her own voice. Would she have the courage to see this through? As the HR manager waited, wordlessly but expectantly, an undeniable sense of urgency enveloped her. Was she ready to fight for what mattered? Emma's resolve grew fiercer, hanging like a fragile thread in the air, begging to be grasped before it slipped away. What would she choose? Would she risk it all for change? Emma's heart pounded as she stood there, words swirling in her mind, wrestling with the gravity of what she was about to do. The HR manager's carefully raised eyebrow pressed on her like a weight. This wasn't just about a single event. It was about a shift in perspective that needed to happen. A chance to break through barriers that constrained not just Jason, but countless others who fought silently against prejudice every day. Emma, the HR manager nudged gently, bringing her back into the room. If you're certain, I suggest you gather support. You aren't the only one affected by this decision. Emma nodded slowly, her mind racing. She could reach out to her colleagues, get their thoughts and support. A sudden image of Jason flashed before her. Smiling brightly, his cane tapping the floor rhythmically as he spoke about his dreams with passion. She couldn't let that sparkle fade. What if I started a petition? She blurted, inspiration igniting within her. People could express their support for Jason to speak. We could gather momentum. Show management that the community is ready for change. The HR manager leaned back, contemplating her idea. It's bold. I like the initiative. But remember, some may not agree. This isn't just about changing perceptions. It's about facing pushback, too. Emma focused on that voice of warning. Facing pushback was terrifying, but it was also a challenge she could meet. Just a fleeting memory of Jason's unwavering spirit pushed her forward. With determination hardening in her chest, she replied, I'm willing to face whatever it takes. For Jason and everyone who has been silenced. Okay, the HR manager said, her expression softening. Let us give it a shot. I can guide you through the process. Nodding once again, Emma left the HR office feeling as if she gathered a small army within her heart. She hurried back to her desk and began crafting an email to her colleagues. She poured every ounce of passion into that message, detailing everything Jason represented: the strength, hope, and tenacity of a person who refused to be defined by his blindness. The hours flew by. Emma barely noticed her coworkers looking over her shoulder as they absorbed her words, their expressions shifting from skepticism to interest. People began to nod, murmurs of agreement spreading like ripples on a pond. One by one, they began signing the petition. Each signature felt like a small victory, a step toward transformation. But doubt crept in again as she gathered feedback. Are you sure about this, Emma? Going against management, what if they push back? A close friend voiced. Looking up, Emma saw concern etched on their face. What if they do? She challenged. What if we succeed? What if change happens? Just days later, Emma found herself standing in front of a room full of employees, ready to present her mission to a broader audience. She sensed a tide of support, yet inside, her heart raced, realizing the stakes. As voices rose in an encouraging symphony, Emma drew a deep breath, remembering the fire in Jason's eyes and the stories he had told. It wasn't just about his inclusion anymore. It was about all those who felt unheard, unseen. With Porter beside her, she gathered resolve. Change isn't easy, but it's necessary because every voice matters, especially the ones we often overlook, she began, her voice steady now. The applause erupted as she finished. But in that moment, all she could focus on was that dear vacancy where Jason should have stood. Would they really understand the importance of including someone like him? As she stepped off the improvised stage, the HR manager approached her. That was inspiring, Emma. But you know this is just the beginning, right? A wave of uncertainty rushed through her. What lay ahead? Did she have what it took to fight the opposition that was surely coming her way? Are you ready for the fallout? The manager asked, peering into Emma's eyes as if searching for affirmation. For every thrill of hope, there loomed a shadow of doubt. Would her courage be enough to push them forward? Emma stood, frozen for a heartbeat, knowing that the stakes had never been this high. Had she really begun a movement? Would anyone rally behind her? It was time to find out. The days that followed were a whirlwind of emotions. Each morning, Emma trudged into the office with a mix of anticipation and anxiety. The petition was gathering steam. Employees were buzzing about it. Even those who had previously seemed indifferent now engaged in conversations by the coffee machine. Yet with every spark of support, the looming concerns of backlash from management whispered in her mind. At lunch, Emma sat with her closest friends, surrounded by conversations about everything but the petition. She took a deep breath, pushing her plate aside, and drew their focus. I need your help. It's time we take this beyond the office walls. Megan, her ever-enthusiastic co-worker, raised an eyebrow. What do you mean? Like a rally? Emma nodded, energy bubbling inside her. Yes, a rally. We could invite Jason to speak. Imagine the visibility. We could reach out to other departments too. As she spoke, she saw the fire ignite in Megan's eyes, the sense of purpose they both craved. However, not everyone shared the excitement. Mark, a colleague known for his blunt opinions, leaned back in his chair. But Emma, what if it goes wrong? We could lose our jobs over this. Would you rather stay silent and let Jason be disregarded? Emma shot back, her heart racing. A tense silence fell over the table. She could see doubt waiting through the air, mingling with the aroma of cold coffee. I just don't like the idea of making waves, Mark mumbled, but Emma could see he was at least thinking about it. Sometimes waves are necessary, Emma replied softly but with conviction. For change to happen, someone has to make them. The next week was a blur. Emma and Megan crafted flyers, created social media posts, and planned the rally meticulously, making sure to invite everyone in the office. As the day approached, Emma's pulse raced at the thought of Jason's presence. What if his words could spark something stronger than a mere conversation? On the day of the rally, Emma stood at the front of the auditorium, every face directed at her. The air was thick with anticipation. She felt a surge of fear wash over her. What if this all fell flat? What if the arguments she'd rehearsed in her mind weren't enough? But then, she remembered Jason's laughter, his light in the face of darkness. With a determined breath, she stepped up to the microphone. "Thank you all for coming," she said, trying to steady her voice. "Today, we're here to discuss something that matters deeply. Jason's story isn't just his. It belongs to all of us who believe in inclusion." As she glanced across the room, she saw familiar expressions of support. Yet, she also caught sight of a few faces hardened with skepticism. A knot tightened in her stomach as she noticed one of the senior managers, arms crossed, eyes narrowed. But she pushed forward. "This isn't just about giving Jason a chance to speak. It's about challenging ourselves to listen. Every person deserves to be seen. And just as importantly, every voice matters." The applause that followed was hesitant but growing. Emma's heart soared. She moved aside to make way for Jason, who was walking onto the stage. His confident steps resonated with the crowd, and Emma felt a swell of pride as he reached the microphone. "Thank you for having me," Jason began, his voice steady despite the sea of faces before him. "I've spent my life learning to see the world in different ways. You all can help make it more inclusive. Every step toward understanding is a step toward change." As he spoke, Emma could see her colleagues shift, skepticism melting away, curiosity blooming. Each word they exchanged seemed to renew their connection to empathy. Just then, as Jason reached the climax of his speech, Emma noticed a figure slipping out the door. It was that same senior manager, his face a mask of displeasure. Emma's heart sank. What if he left to shut this down? As Jason concluded, cheers erupted, but her mind was elsewhere. Would the fallout from this moment be more than she could handle? Would they face repercussions? "Get ready," Emma mumbled to Megan, heart pounding. "I think we might be stirring the pot a bit too well." Little did she know, the consequences of that rally were only just beginning to unfold. Would they stand their ground or would fear take hold? The aftermath of the rally echoed loudly in Emma's mind. Days turned into a blur of whispers in the hallways, knowing glances, and anxiously avoided encounters with management. Each time she entered the office, she felt a shiver of apprehension mixed with hope. Had they really started something? Or had they unleashed a storm they weren't prepared for? The following Monday, Emma received an email that made her stomach twist. It was a meeting request from her manager. The subject line was simple: follow up on recent rally. Emma's heart raced. She knew they would discuss the fallout. She didn't even have to open the email to guess the tone it would carry. That evening, her friends gathered in her tiny apartment. The atmosphere was thick with tension as they strategized their next steps. Megan paced the floor, her energy bubbling with a mix of excitement and nerves. "You guys, we did something amazing. Imagine if we could keep this momentum going. More rallies, interviews, maybe even a podcast spreading Jason's message. Great idea. But what do we do if management retaliates?" Mark said, his face darkening at the thought. "I can't afford to lose my job." The worry on his face mirrored Emma's own thoughts. She glanced at Jason, who sat slowly nodding as if absorbing the discussion. Emma remembered the way his face lit up at the rally, how he spoke with such passion about being heard. "I understand the risks," Emma said, voice steady, "but what are we supposed to do? Stay silent? Jason deserves a voice, and so do we. We need to support each other. If we don't stand for this, who will?" Jason finally spoke up, his tone grounded though his expression was earnest. "If you're all willing to support this, then I am too. But it's crucial we prepare for pushback. We can't let the fear of losing a job overshadow the importance of this fight." There were murmurs of agreement and apprehensive nods. Emma felt the power of their determination waft through the room, but it was heavily laced with uncertainty. They knew the risks, yet they felt compelled to continue. The meeting with her manager was as she expected. She sat across from him, heart racing. "What were you thinking, Emma?" he started, fingers steepled in annoyance. "You led an event that could jeopardize the company's reputation. Do you even understand the risks of what you did?" Each word felt like a sharp sting. "I only wanted to give Jason a platform," she said, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. "His story matters. It reflects a part of this company that we need to address. He leaned forward, his expression softening just a bit. I get that, but consider your next steps, Emma. Not everyone in here shares your vision. This could backfire. Emma left the meeting feeling the weight of his concerns. Would they really backtrack after everything? Was their cause already at risk? She needed to regroup with her friends, to rally their spirits and determine how to navigate gnarly waters ahead. That evening, the streets were alive with spring energy as Emma met with Megan and Mark. Just as they began brainstorming plans, her phone buzzed with a new notification. It was a direct message from Jason. Meet me at the park in 10? I want to share something important. What could it be? She wondered out loud, adrenaline sparking through her nerves. In that moment, her heart picked up pace. Was Jason ready to take the plunge, willing to share something personal, or riskier? Let us go, she said abruptly, leading the way through the chaos of the city. Even as apprehension clawed at her thoughts. What was he about to reveal? The night loomed ahead, brimming with uncertainty. But one thing was clear. Things would never be the same again. Emma's heart thudded in her chest as she and her friends reached the park. The cool night air was filled with a strange blend of excitement and unease. The park was dimly lit, shadows dancing along the path where leaves rustled softly in the breeze. She scanned the area, searching for Jason. There he is, Megan said, pointing to a figure sitting on a bench beneath an old oak tree. Jason looked lost in thought, his shoulders hunched as he stared at the ground. Emma felt a rush of urgency. It was time for answers. As they approached, Emma noticed that Jason's face held a seriousness that sent a shiver down her spine. Hey, she said, forcing a smile that felt brittle against the weight of the situation. What's going on? He looked up, his eyes meeting hers with an intensity that made her stomach twist. Thanks for coming. He paused, taking a deep breath. I've been thinking a lot about the rally, about everything that is happening. Emma felt a lump form in her throat. Yeah, it's a lot to process. But I believe we can make a difference. Jason nodded, but didn't he seem convinced? That's what I want to talk about. I think it's time to take a bigger step. I want to share my story. The real story. What do you mean? Mark asked, shifting anxiously beside Emma. Jason hesitated, his fingers clenching and unclenching as if he were holding on to something tightly. I've avoided the details because it's painful. But I think if we're going to do this, everyone needs to understand the truth. My experience isn't just one rally. It's about struggle. It's about people feeling unheard. And it involves my family. My sister is engaged to someone who is blind. Someone who has faced severe judgment. Their challenges have shaped who I am. The air felt thick as Jason spoke. Emma could see the shadows of doubt and vulnerability flickering on his face. I've been afraid of backlash, just like everyone else. But if I share this, we might not just inspire people but spark something bigger. We might break down walls. Megan leaned in closer, her curiosity ignited. What do you need from us? I want to create a video series. Showing real stories, real struggles. Highlighting not just my journey, but others too, including my sister and her fiancé. We need to shift the narrative. This isn't just about rallies. It's about humanity. Emma exchanged glances with Mark and Megan. The energy in the air had transformed from apprehension to possibility. A video series understanding, empathy, authenticity. The kind of raw connection that could resonate. Let us brainstorm how we can make this happen, Emma suggested, her voice rising with excitement. We could incorporate interviews, reach out to various communities. We could make an impact far beyond our company. And just like that, the shadows of doubt faded for a moment. They talked late into the night, piecing together plans, sharing laughter and ideas, the park around them alive with their ambition. But amid the excitement, Emma couldn't shake a feeling that gnawed at her. As much as she wanted to be bold, to push boundaries, she couldn't quite ignore the fear that this could end badly. What if they unleashed a storm they weren't prepared for? Hours later, as they said their goodbyes, Jason's voice pierced through her thoughts. I'm going to do this, no matter the risks. Together, we can face whatever comes our way. Emma smiled, floating on the momentum they had created. We'll be there for each other. Always. As she walked home, the moonlight painted the streets in silvery hues. But deep down, She felt apprehension trailing behind her. What would the company's reaction be to their plans? And more pressing, how far would they be willing to go to fight for their message? In that moment, Emma realized they were just stepping into a battle far bigger than she had ever anticipated. And the stakes were real. But with her friends by her side and Jason's story at the forefront, she felt a glimmer of hope that maybe they could rewrite the narrative after all. As she entered her apartment, her phone buzzed again. It was a text. From Jason, "Remember Emma. This could change everything. Are you ready?" Her heart raced anew. Ready for what? What lay ahead was still uncertain, but it was also undeniably thrilling. Emma barely managed to drift off that night. Images of Jason's determined face haunted her dreams. Every time she closed her eyes, she heard his words echoing in her mind. This could change everything. She shifted beneath her covers, excitement battling with dread. What if they weren't prepared for the wave of emotions both good and bad that could come from their project? When morning light finally seeped into her bedroom, it brought clarity and focus. She hopped out of bed, brushed her teeth, and decided to reach out to her friends in a group chat. "Let us meet up this afternoon. I think we should plan the first steps for the video series. I can't stop thinking about it." Within minutes, responses flooded in. Mark was game, and Megan couldn't wait to help. Jason's reply was the most enthusiastic. "I'll bring my sister and her fiancé." Emma's heart raced again. Meeting them would mean facing both the joy and struggles that Jason had shared. Would she be strong enough to hold all that emotion? Would they? As the hours crawled by, anticipation surged in her veins like an electric current. When they gathered later at their favorite cafe, the mood shifted dramatically as soon as Jason arrived, his sister, Lila, and her fiancé, Owen, right behind him. Lila was radiant, exuding warmth, while Owen wore sunglasses, his cane tapping methodically against the pavement. Emma felt a rush of nervous excitement. These were real stories, lives deeply intertwined with the struggles Jason spoke of. "Thanks for having us," Lila said brightly, her voice full of genuine appreciation. "Jason tells me you're working on something important." "Yeah," Emma said, her pulse quickening. "We think sharing real stories can really resonate with people and change perspectives." "I love that idea," Owen spoke, his tone calm and steady. "But you need to know that it isn't easy to be vulnerable. Our experiences open us up to critiques that can sting." Emma nodded, feeling the weight of his words. "We want to share the truth, no filters. It's about connecting." She glanced at Jason, whose eyes sparkled with hope. "Exactly," Jason added. "We need to show everyone what it really means to be seen, to be heard." Lila and Owen have so much strength in how they navigate the world. As they talked, Emma listened intently, entranced by the way Lila shared her journey of love and acceptance. Owen spoke about how the world didn't always do him or Lila any favors, especially when people decided to judge based on appearances. But there was resilience in their words that sparked fire in Emma's heart. "What do you both hope to achieve by sharing your story?" Emma asked, her voice softer now, almost fragile. Owen met her gaze. "We want people to see beyond their assumptions, to feel something," he said. "When they understand our love, perhaps they can approach difference with kindness." Lila chimed in, "It's about creating space for compassion. We want others to know they're not alone. Everyone faces challenges, some just wear different masks." The conversation flowed easily, laughter sprinkled among the deeper, more somber notes. But Emma also felt an undercurrent of anxiety. What if the world met their honesty with disdain? Would the backlash tarnish the message they desperately wanted to deliver? As they began to brainstorm ideas for the video series, Emma looked around at her friends, their faces lit with hope and determination. So many people were ready to heal and grow. But just as quickly the fear bubbled back up. "What if we can't change minds?" She blurted out, a lump in her throat. "What if we just make it worse?" Jason reached across the table and squeezed her hand. "But what if we spark something beautiful? We can't let fear dictate what we do." His gaze was fierce and steady. Emma took a breath, feeling the warmth of their collective energy. Suddenly, their mission felt bigger than just a project. It was about paving roads toward understanding and acceptance. "All right," she said, her voice unwavering. "Let us do this. Together." The group erupted in a mixture of cheers and laughter. The cafe, around them alive with renewed purpose. But beneath the excitement, Emma could feel a cloud of uncertainty gathering. What awaited them once they took their first step? As they wrapped up their meeting, Lila said with a playful grin, "The real journey starts when you decide to hit record. Are you all ready for that?" Emma swallowed hard. If only she knew. Everything felt real, urgent, and just a little bit thrillingly terrifying. How deep was their commitment going to be tested? The answer lingered on the wind, tantalizing yet elusive. Emma awoke the next morning with a sense of purpose driving her out of bed. The conversations from the cafe echoed in her mind, an eager buzz that wouldn't let go. She rushed through her morning routine, her stomach nodding with anticipation. Today was the day they would gather their ideas and start shaping the journey ahead. As she stepped outside, the sun shone brightly, casting a warm glow on everything it touched. Emma took a deep breath, filling her lungs with hope. She could almost hear the laughter and stories waiting to unfold. With her phone in hand, she texted Jason, reminding everyone of their meeting later. The hours slipped by quickly, each tick of the clock getting her closer to the moment they would truly begin. She could see Jason's bright smile and Lila's radiant energy in her mind. This wouldn't just be another project. It was a chance to dive into emotions that mattered, that could change lives. At the meeting spot, a small community center, they set up tables and chairs, filling them with a mix of art supplies, laptops, and notebooks. The room buzzed with a lively energy as everyone chatted and shared their excitement. "Let us get started," Emma said, clapping her hands to draw attention. A hush fell over the room as they turned their eyes to her. "Okay, our goal is clear. We want to tell stories that matter, stories that inspire and connect us." "That's right," Jason chimed in. "We're not just making videos. We're building bridges." As they brainstormed, ideas erupted like fireworks, illuminating faces with excitement. One by one, they threw out concepts, each building on the last. But Emma's heart raced when they began to shape Lila and Owen's story. What they shared the day before was powerful, but how could they present it authentically? Amidst the chatter, Emma raised her hand. "What if we start by following Lila and Owen's day? We could dive into their lives, the struggles and triumphs. Raw and real." Lila nodded, her eyes sparkling. "I love that concept. It's about everyday moments that show our reality." "Exactly," Jason added, his enthusiasm infectious. "Let us capture the little things that matter." They moved into small groups to draft outlines, each bubbling with ideas and energy. Emma glanced around, feeling synergy bubble up in the air. The weight of fear was still there, but it felt lighter, almost manageable. They were united in producing something that could truly touch hearts. Then, just as the excitement reached its peak, a knock interrupted their creativity. Emma turned to see Owen standing at the door, cane in hand and a playful smirk on his face. "Did someone say they're ready to hit record?" The group burst into laughter, the tension breaking as Owen's presence ignited more energy into the room. Lila walked over and hugged him, and somehow, it felt like they were all pulling in closer, reaffirming their bond. "About to get real." Emma laughed, feeling relief wash over her. As they welcomed Owen into their circle, Emma caught a flicker of nervousness in his expression, a brief moment of vulnerability that caught her attention. Despite his calm demeanor, did he feel the weight of this project as they did? "Are you nervous?" Emma asked, curiosity piqued. Owen let out a sigh, his smile fading for a moment. "Honestly, putting ourselves out there is scary, but I think it's necessary. I want people to see beyond the surface." Emma felt a lump in her throat again. There was a vulnerability there, a truth that echoed louder than it had before. "Then let us do this together," Emma said softly, locking eyes with Owen. They could face this journey as a united force. The day wore on, filled with enthusiasm, laughter, and moments of deeper connection. They talked about challenges and what it would take to be truly honest on camera. Emma felt a swell of pride. This was about more than just them. Their shared goal was about changing the narrative. As they wrapped up for the day, Lila stood, raising her hand. "Let us promise each other something. No matter how tough things get, we're in this together." It didn't take long for the group to join in, echoing their commitment. Together. Always. But as Emma walked home, a tiny seed of doubt began to unfurl in her mind. Would their openness be met with understanding or criticism? What if their journey, meant to inspire, became another round of judgment? Her heart raced with the uncertainty. She grabbed her phone and typed out a message to Jason, "Are we really ready for this?" Before she could hit send, the weight of the journey ahead pressed heavily upon her. Would their dreams become a reality? Or were they diving into an abyss of backlash? As the evening settled in, Emma felt a knot in her gut. What would it take to push through the walls of fear? And more importantly, were they prepared for the truth that would inevitably come out? The challenge was only beginning, and the stakes felt higher than ever. The following morning felt different. The sky appeared bluer, but the warmth from the sun was overwhelmed by the storm brewing inside Emma. She had hardly slept, her mind a whirlwind of worries and possibilities. Each thought seemed heavier than the last. What if everything they were working for fell flat? What if they hurt those they intended to help? She went through her routine in a daze, every action automatic, until she sat down with a steaming cup of coffee. It calmed her to watch the steam swirl, but her thoughts quickly returned to Lila and Owen. They trusted her, and she had to do the same. Emma picked up her phone, scrolling through messages, her heart sinking more with each swipe. Jason was optimistic as always, tossing ideas back and forth, but she hesitated to reply. Instead, she sent a quick message to Lila, "Can we meet before practice later? Just us." The minutes stretched into hours while she waited, each one a test of her resolve. Finally Lila replied, suggesting a nearby park. "Can't wait to talk. It'll be good." The sunlight filtering through the trees felt comforting as Emma approached the park. She spotted Lila beneath a flowering cherry tree, her smile radiant. Yet Emma couldn't shake the feeling that she was hiding her own worries too. They embraced naturally, but something in Lila's grip felt tighter than usual. "Are you okay?" Emma asked, brushing a loose strand of hair behind her ear. "Just a bit nervous," Lila admitted softly. "I want this project to succeed, but—" "I know," Emma nodded, her heart racing. "It's a lot. But we can do this, right?" Lila let out a small laugh. "Right. I just wish we could skip to the part where we're sharing our story with everyone." Emma's chest tightened at the mention of sharing their truth. What if we face backlash? What if people don't understand? Just then Lila's expression shifted. "Remember when Owen and I talked about finding strength in vulnerability? What if this is our moment to inspire?" That thought hung in the air for a moment. Inspiring others felt important, but the fear still lingered heavily in Emma's chest. "You're right," she embraced the idea, although confidence remained a distant memory. Before they could dive deeper into their conversation, Owen approached, leaning lightly on his cane. His face brightened when he saw them, but Emma noticed the tension in his posture. "Hey ladies, what's the game plan today?" he asked, cheerful but a hint of uncertainty danced in his eyes. Emma exchanged silent looks with Lila. She felt a strong urge to ask him how he was feeling about the project, but instead gestured toward a picnic table. "Let us talk about the next steps." As they settled in, the conversation flowed between storytelling techniques and concepts. Yet the atmosphere felt weighty. Moments of laughter punctuated their discussions, but there was an underlying solemnity. Emma's mind couldn't shake the feeling that something was bubbling beneath the surface, like they were all holding back. They began to brainstorm how to film Lila and Owen's daily routines, ensuring it would capture their reality authentically. As Owen shared stories of coping with his blindness and how it shaped his relationship with Lila, Emma felt herself becoming more emotional. His words were powerful, and she fought the urge to cry. Lila took Owen's hand, their energy intertwining. "We both have fears, but facing them together makes it easier," she said, her voice steady. Emma saw the beauty in their partnership. It became clear to her that sharing those fears was just as important as sharing triumphs. She cleared her throat, feeling the determination building within. "What if we film a live session? Invite people to ask us questions as we talk through our stories?" Owen blinked, taken aback. "Live? You mean real time?" "There's beauty in raw honesty," Emma replied, excitement bubbling within her despite the fear lurking nearby. "It could show our struggles, our vulnerabilities, and connect us with the audience." Lila smiled wide. "I love the idea. But are we ready for that?" Emma took a deep breath. "That's the question. I see it? Together, we can support each other through it. As they exchanged ideas, a flicker of hope ignited in Emma's heart. Perhaps this vulnerability could build something genuine, something real. But doubts still spun around her mind as they parted ways later. Was this truly the path they wanted to take? Their stories were powerful, but were they strong enough to face the people's reactions? Shaking off lingering uncertainty, Emma felt a sense of urgency. Though courage was rising, the fear of exposure lurked closely behind. All they had to do was decide to leap. But did they have what it took? With the evening air heavy around her, Emma sent a group message to Jason, Lila, and Owen. Are we ready to take this leap together? As she pressed send, hope and anxiety collided within her, leaving her breathless. The real journey was only beginning, and her heart beat wildly against the uncertainty to come. What awaited them on the other side? The moment had arrived. Emma stood backstage, the chatter of the crowd a distant rumble as she adjusted her microphone. Her heart racing in sync with the anticipation swirling around her. Today was the day they would unveil their journey, Jason's, Lila's, Owen's, and her own. The video series that had once been just a flicker of an idea was now real. And she felt the weight of that truth settle into her bones. As she peered through the curtain, she could see a sea of faces, some familiar and some strangers, all radiating curiosity. 1,000 thoughts raced in her mind. What if they didn't get it? What if the message fell flat? But then the image of Jason's confident smile and Lila's bright energy filled her with strength. This was bigger than any individual fear. Finally, the event coordinator called out, "And now, please welcome Emma, Jason, Lila, and Owen." The audience erupted in applause as they appeared on stage. A harmonious blend of light and shadow, each step towards the spotlight reigniting the fire in her heart. Emma stepped to the center, breath held tight. "Thank you for being here today. We believe in the power of stories. The truth can spark understanding and compassion." Jason took the microphone next, his voice steady and calm. "I'm here to share more than just my journey. I want to tell you about the beauty of perseverance among challenges." Listening to him, Emma felt a warmth spread through her. This was their moment. Owen and Lila each spoke, sharing their own experiences, weaving a tapestry of resilience and love that encompassed trials and triumphs both big and small. With every word spoken, Emma sensed barriers breaking down around her. She could see in the audience the shifting expressions, the furrowed brows of concern softening, mouths curling into understanding smiles. It was powerful, electrifying. When it was Emma's turn again, she locked eyes with several faces in the crowd, drawing strength from their attentiveness. Vulnerability is hard, she admitted, but it's necessary. Today we're choosing to embrace our truths. Because every story matters, even the hard ones. Her voice shivered a little, but she pressed on. We have to create a world where every voice is seen and heard, especially those who feel invisible. The applause that followed filled her like a rush of adrenaline. As the discussion turned into a Q&A, hands shot up across the room, questions pouring forth like a river. They spoke about what it meant to face prejudice, the transformative power of empathy, and the importance of inclusion. Moments of laughter intertwined with vulnerability, and Emma savored the connections threading through the audience. Through shared stories, she could see the impact of their words take shape, the shift in perspective. As the event came to a close, she felt an eruption of energy rush through her. They weren't just sharing their stories. They were igniting a movement, sparking conversations that had lain dormant for too long. And then something unexpected happened. From among the crowd, a voice spoke up. A woman stood and said, "Thank you for sharing. Your courage encourages me to speak up about my own struggles. This means so much." Tears prickled Emma's eyes as she listened to the sincerity in her voice. In that moment, everything coalesced. The fear, the risks, the past few months, they had all been leading to this. The strength of community, the vulnerability that connected them, it was all worth it. As they wrapped up, Emma could feel hope and purpose swelling within her chest. Lila and Owen's hands squeezed her shoulders in a silent affirmation of support. They had fought through the apprehension to embrace the beauty of their stories. Weeks passed into a breathtaking transformation. Their video series sparked dialogue within and beyond their community, reaching schools, workplaces, and social media like wildfire. Emma watched as awareness grew. as people began sharing their own stories echoing Janet's words of affirmation. They were connecting, healing, understanding together. Emma's heart swelled. Every time she witnessed someone stepping out of silence to share their experiences, inspired by Jason's bravery, Lila's strength, and Owen's authenticity. No, it wasn't a flawless path. There were still critics and naysayers, but that only solidified their resolve. One evening, after a discussion panel, Emma received a message from Jason. "You did it. We did it. Keep shining." And for the first time, the shadows of doubt that had once lingered around her began to fade. Emma realized that change came with courage, a courage she had found not alone, but alongside those she loved. As she stepped into the future with her friends, the world suddenly felt wide open. Change was happening, and they were part of it, a tapestry woven from once hushed stories, creating a vibrant narrative of hope. This was just the beginning. You need to subscribe now to catch the next exclusive stories of transformation like this. Leave a like now to show your support and feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about this emotional journey. We want to know what you think. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this inspiring transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share. True fans understand the importance of supporting this channel. Let us continue to make a difference together.